So let's be honest, most Americans over the age of 18 are trying to juggle school,
Work.
a personal life, kids if they have any. It's either that or consider yourself a lazy motherfucker. The only reason I'm mentioning it is because most people either don't care about voting or just don't have the time to dive into each presidential candidate's campaign to try to dissect their personality, life choices, and political views in order to make an educated guess on who you believe will be the best suited to lead the United States of America. But don't worry, I've done some homework for y'all. I'm like that friend in school that's gonna let you cheat off his test because he knows you didn't study. You're welcome. As much as I would love to start talking about the GOP, aka the Republican candidates, at this point, their party looks like a circus, with Donald Trump as the ringleader, and I refuse to entertain that nonsense. Plus, Donald Trump has already been roasted by almost everyone in the world at this point.
But
So you don't think I'm completely biased, I'll go ahead and leave some links to some videos about the Republican Party down below. Now that that's out the way, let's dive into the political party that I think is even worth mentioning this year. The Democrats. Right now, we have two major candidates running to represent the Democratic Party in this year's presidential election, Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Most of you are already familiar with Hillary Clinton because she was married to Bill Clinton, a former president of the United States who did a lot of good for this country, with a few slip-ups here and there.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
Hillary Clinton was also Secretary of State during Barack Obama's first term as president. And I believe it'll be another step in the right direction if she succeeds Barack Obama, the first black president, and becomes the first woman elected president of the United States of America.
Creating a more peaceful world. Please clap.
Plus, Bill Clinton will become the first man of the United States ever. You can't write a better story than that. A woman that was once First Lady of the United States faces adversity and loses the first time she runs for office, only to win the second time she runs in a landslide victory against Donald Trump. I really don't like that guy. Anyways, I think Hillary will do a good job as president, and she'll continue guiding the United States in the right direction. But there's one thing that really bothers me and sticks out like a sore thumb when it comes to Hillary's campaign, and it's the fact that her campaign has been primarily funded by these big corporations that benefit if things remain the way they are. Companies like JP Morgan, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, Time Warner, and the list goes on. Look it up, and don't act surprised because it's not something new. Oil companies, pharmaceutical companies, and big businesses in general have been donating millions of dollars to politicians for decades. And I know you're smart enough to understand that these wealthy companies aren't going to give money to politicians because they want to help. They give money because they want to buy politicians in order to twist and turn legislature to benefit themselves and in turn exploit the land and the people in it. And I don't want to get pimped out by my government any more than we already have. This is the reason why a lot of people don't vote and think the government is corrupt and the government doesn't care about us. And I can't blame people for feeling that way, because the truth is some government officials really don't care about the American people, the same way some American people don't care about government officials. And until you start caring about voting, shit ain't gonna change. So stop complaining. I did some research, and here's a fun fact. Voter turnouts is usually shy of 60%. And that's really upsetting because 40% of the country is not voting. And just to get things straight, I'm not saying Hillary Clinton doesn't care, because honestly I think she does. But I think she's in a tough predicament where she owes favors to those companies that help fund her campaign, but she has a duty to protect the integrity of the United States and obviously help the American people. This is why my favorite candidate in the 2016 presidential race is Bernie Sanders, a democratic socialist whose ideas and views for the United States can bring forth a change that has been long overdue. No offense to Obama. Bernie Sanders ran as an independent in Burlington, Vermont and won to become the first independent mayor in the United States. He went on to become the senator of Vermont and is now known as the longest serving independent in US congressional history. Bernie Sanders has not sold out to corporate America, and his campaign has been primarily funded by the people. The average donation of Bernie's campaign is $27.16, which means he doesn't owe these big corporations any favors, and he's not afraid to stand up to Wall Street.
And he is right. I am dangerous for Wall Street.
Bernie was also an activist in the civil rights movement, and he even witnessed the Martin Luther King speech. To be honest with you, the more I learn about Bernie, the more I like the guy. But like every other human being on this earth, he's not perfect. He's actually made some mistakes, like the time he dropped an album.
As I went walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway.
Look, Bernie, I have no idea who was in the studio with you when you were recording this album, but they were not looking out. Bernie understands what it's like to be poor, and he understands what it's like to be a minority in the United States. And this may be the only opportunity we have in a long time to elect a presidential candidate who hasn't been bought out by huge corporations. Let's not fuck this opportunity up, and let's help this guy get elected. Because America needs a leader like Bernie Sanders. Someone who wants to make America work for everyone, not just the people at the top. If you live in one of these states or have friends and family that live in one of these states, make sure you go out and vote and tell your friends and family to vote for Bernie Sanders this primary season. You can pause the video if you need more time. There was this moment while I was researching Bernie Sanders where I came across this interview where a guy asked him if he would still run for president as an independent if he would lose the Democratic nomination to Hillary Clinton. And what Bernie Sanders said actually made me feel like he's a genuine human being who actually cares about the integrity of the United States and actually wants to help the people. And this is what he said.
So to answer your question, if it happens that I do not win that process, would I run outside of the system? No, I made the promise that I would not, and I'll keep that promise. And the reason for that is I do not want to be responsible for electing some right-wing Republican to be president of the United States of America.